This government meeting is brought to you by Eastworks and our local cable subscribers.
All right, we're live.
Okay. So, we need to make a motion to open the meeting.
I second that motion.
All in favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Everybody's in favor?
Yeah, we're good.
Do we have minutes?
Public speak?
Anybody here from the public?
I am. Well, you're
Or
here for
anything
business.
not on
Unless
the
you have anything
agenda?
else, unless you have anything else you'd like to add.
No,
All right.
September minutes.
September minutes?
They were uploaded to the file folder.
Okay,
Thank you, Lindsay.
somebody make a motion to approve the minutes from September.
Second motion.
Motion, second.
Oh.
All in favor?
I
We're learning it.
Open the public hearings for Easthampton Rod and Gun, special one day for October 11th event.
it's the 11th or the 12th.
You tell me. It's very possible I typed it wrong. Try and pull up the, yeah.
It says the 11th.
And what is SOD again?
Huh?
Remind me what SOD is.
Special one day.
Oh, yeah, special one day, okay.
I just don't feel like typing it out, but I can
No, that's
in the
fine.
future.
No. I was like, one day pour, special.
Special one days,
Special one day.
sods.
Sods, okay. No, I'm down. That's good.
Yeah, it's on the 12th.
Okay, sorry about that.
No problem. I just wanted to make sure I didn't put the
Sure.
wrong date. I have a tendency at that sometimes.
So, do you wanna tell us what it is?
We're looking for a one day at our property on 23 River Street for a metal detecting event this Saturday.
What's the setup that you have there?
The setup is gonna be under our pavilion. We have a little area there. There will be a tip certified bartender. It's gonna be myself actually. So I'll be there serving and checking and whatever else that needs to be done. That's where it'll all happen, is underneath our pavilion.
So it's outside this time.
Yes, it's outside this time.
Any questions?
No, you've done this before. You've done events, SODs at the outside pavilion before, right?
Yeah, we've done a couple.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
usually they're
Years past.
indoor,
Most
outdoor
times they're
zoo.
indoor. This one's just because of what it is and where these guys are gonna be doing the looking. I figured the outside would be a little nicer and take advantage of the last bit of nice weather we got here.
Yeah, sure.
So, but it's a good little setup area out there, so.
Yeah. And you guys, it's private property, members only or paid guests
Correct.
only?
Correct, unless it's, our public events.
Right.
And then we will have some other members around just to keep an eye on
Surprises.
what have you.
Sure,
Mhm.
right.
We typically don't have any trouble with anything.
I mean,
You gonna go get a metal detector?
well, I was up at Pine Island for a week and somebody had left one of those,
No way.
like magnet
Yeah.
fishing things. I didn't get anything, but I was like, yeah, I was totally into that. That'd be great.
Yeah,
But
It
I'm
sounds fun.
surprised that if they find something like worth money, like Confederate gold or something, whatever,
Yeah,
that they get to keep it, they don't cut you in.
They get to keep it, that's the whole deal.
that's why they buy into it.
Oh, yeah,
You're
that's,
buying in for
Yeah.
$50 a person
gotcha.
with, I forget how many people he said he's got on the hook for this.
Sure.
So there's,
There's
I
a
believe,
likely profit.
$2,200 in it for the club.
Yeah.
For
Oh,
a few
nice.
hours. We don't even make that on a fishing derby.
Right,
That's great.
right,
We put a lot of effort into a fishing derby, so.
yeah.
These are the
This
events
is
I'm looking
easy,
to try
easy
to.
revenue for
You
you
might wanna
guys.
bury a watch or something, just so that people come bury a
Or go out the
Rolex and
night
have them
before.
come in
We
next
digress.
year. Sorry, let's get back to the meeting.
Yes.
I move that we approve.
Second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. I'll go into the portal and do the
When I
license.
go to, I've been trying to print the physical
Uh-huh,
permit, the official looking thing,
yeah,
and it just won't let me out of my phone or a computer. A bunch of us have tried printing it,
okay.
and for some reason it just it prints out the whole form saying it's approved and all of that, but not that.
Not the physical license, there's a
The
different
physical
tab you
license.
have to go on it says application and then it has the, at least on my end.
On your end, okay.
Like what I see is the application, then I have to click on the license and then I can print the license.
See, I got it right here. Do you mind
No,
taking
no,
a
no.
second
Yeah.
with me?
Sure.
I mean, I can always show on my phone, but. So when I go to it, it tells me down here to print.
Yeah,
I tap the print with my printer going,
yeah,
and then it doesn't print me the physical license, it prints me out all of this.
yeah, cause that's what you're asking to print.
See, then if I.
Oh yeah, so I have an extra tab there that says license, so. No, that's okay.
Yeah, cause if I click,
And when I issue the license, you wouldn't get to print it now because they haven't
okay,
signed
they
it
haven't
yet.
signed it yet, that's right.
So once I go into the system and I check off all those boxes and I put their signatures on the license, then the license becomes available. It wouldn't be available
Okay,
yet
right,
because we haven't approved it until
Yeah.
just this minute.
It's just something I've been printing the rest of the information, so at
Okay.
least I have something if somebody were to show up
And
and
we
go,
have
hey.
it, and we have it on our side too, if anything were to happen, but check tomorrow midday, give me till midday tomorrow to get this done. I'll try and do it after this
Okay.
meeting, but check tomorrow midday, and if you still don't see it, I'll send it over to you and then I'll let the software company know,
Okay,
okay?
yeah, it's just something, and usually
Sure.
I try to be down there a little bit here and there, so.
Of course, yeah,
Um,
I'll check into it.
alright, thank you,
Thanks, man.
thank you guys, have a good weekend.
Good luck. Can't wait to hear about what they find.
I'll take some pictures, and when I come back next year,
All right.
I'll have to show you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alright, Matt, you weren't here on time, so we canceled you.
Mm.
Alright, Matt has a very unique application process tonight.
Yeah, there's two of them.
There's two, and if you approve, you'll be signing both these top sheets here. So one is for an alteration of premises, but I guess that comes after. First, you have to approve the new license, and Matt can explain
Yeah.
what this new license is. And this was all uploaded to the shared drive too, so
I can
you
give
should.
you these. These
Awesome.
are those return
Great,
receipt
thanks.
things. I guess that's part of the application, right?
Yep,
And then here's the legal ads
oh,
payment.
perfect, thank you so
Yeah.
much. Okay,
All right, so this is sort of the final step for this farmer distiller application. We kind of started a year ago now. So the state has approved the farmer distillery license. So we haven't started yet, but we could technically be distilling right now. Those products can only be sold outside of the tap room. It's sort of the same thing when you have a farmer brewery license. You can get the farmer brewery license, but to actually serve on premise, you need the pouring permit associated with that license. So we have a pouring permit associated with the brewery. We need a second one for the distillery. So this application here is for a pouring permit for the distillery. And that would allow us to, anything that's made with things made from the distillery can be served at the brewery. And that's what that pouring permit is there. The second part of the application is an alteration of premises. This application allows the distillery products and the brewery products to be served in the same location.
and then, so correct me if I'm wrong, once this application gets approved and sent back to the state, which the state has already done their preliminary approvals, then your farmer's pouring permit changes type, so you don't have two licenses, right? This
Right.
one absolves the first one.
Yeah,
Cover both.
it's a special, it's called a 19H. So there's pouring permits for a farmer winery, a farmer distillery, and a farmer brewery. You can have all three, and you can have them all at the same location, but to have them at the same location, you have to have this 19H, which is a special license that allows them both to operate at the same location. We could technically have this farmer distillery license at a different location, but because they're contiguous, all on the same premises, to be able to serve them, to be able to serve beer and whatever we make from the distillery license at the same spot, you have to have this alteration of premises. It's not the first one the state's given out, but it's the first one that Easthampton has approved before.
So what is the alteration?
Literally, the alteration, we're not changing anything, it's altering the pouring licenses we have to be able to,
Have the distilled beverages on the premises.
yeah, so like, it's really like, there's not much to the actual application, but it's a paperwork formality that the state has required, it has required everyone to go through that wants to do this.
So is it the same process, like you have to do the abutters notice and all that stuff?
Yeah, you had to do it for both applications.
Except you're not changing anything, except for what is being served.
Well, you're adding the ability to distill the drinks on the property too, which is,
That one we already have.
right.
That's actually been approved. That's
yeah.
already been approved by the state. We got that back a few months ago. These applications are strictly related to the pouring permits
of the alcohol.
that are like attached to these farmer brewer and farmer distiller licenses that the state offers.
So how do I renew your license every year?
That's a good question.
It's not a you question, right?
Yeah, I don't know if it, because every year
Am I
we
renewing
have to
both?
like renew our farmer distiller and our farmer brewer with the state.
So it's not erasing the farmer brewer, you're gonna have the farmer brewer and the farmer distilling.
Yeah, so those licenses are technically separate. The thing that we're combining are these pouring permits.
And that's the alteration.
That's the alteration, yeah, and since this has been kind of it's a new experience for us, it's been kind of confusing. We've
Yeah. sorry.
Lindsay's like worked with, not confusing on your part, confusing,
Yeah.
it's just a lot of paperwork from
Right.
the state. The state's kind of given us like specific instructions about how to do this, and they were like, basically the pouring permit for the distillery has to be approved first, and then
And then the alteration,
they
but
can-
they can be submitted together
at the same time, yeah.
Do we have to like
Yeah.
timestamp it?
I will send them accordingly in the system.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's pretty clear, you just, you already have the permission to distill.
Right,
You're just looking at the alteration of premise, just so that you can sell the stuff in your current footprint.
yeah.
But it can't be drank on the premises?
Yeah, so technically
Okay.
now we don't have these licenses now, so we could be distilling and selling off premise.
Okay,
So these applications are
Allow you to serve
specifically
it.
Right.
to be served on premise. And this is sort of the same process we went through when we got the farmer brewer license. This was back in 2014 when these licenses first became available. We had applied for this pouring permit for the farmer brewery license. And it's been 10 years since we've had to
right.
redo this now.
What are you gonna be distilling?
So we're gonna be distilling probably a combination of vodka and in the future some whiskeys. So the intent is not to be serving shots of any of this. And first intent is gonna be to be mixing up hard seltzers. So there's many different ways to make a hard seltzer. This is one of them. So we basically take a carbonated water,
Right.
add a natural flavoring agent, and then we would basically spike it with the vodka
Yeah.
to bring it down from like a 40% ABV to something more like around the 4 or 5%.
That's great, cause the only time I've ever liked a hard seltzer is it's been from a brewery. I can't remember where I got it, but I used to bartend at 413 when that was open. And then we got a can of it, and they were telling us like, I was like, why don't you do this all the time? This is this is the first one where it's like, this tastes actually pretty good. But apparently it's really, you have to have dedicated, is it true you have to have dedicated tanks, cause they're hard to clean and turn back to beer?
Yeah, it depends how you want to do it. Like if you're trying to offer a gluten-free product,
Oh yeah, there you go.
you have to kind of keep your fermentation processes separate.
Yeah,
So this technically would be a gluten-free product. It wouldn't interact with any of our beer line stuff because it's going to be a distilled product.
yeah,
Even though it's distilled from grains, once you distill it, it's no longer
Right.
just the gluten's not in there anymore.
So we need,
Just wanna point something out about the fees.
Mhm.
So the board did approve the changes in fees for section 19 licenses, so you're aware that I guess we're gonna have to have you paying for 2 renewals every year.
So if it's, so are the renewals for the pouring license or for the farmer, for the license to brew,
For the pouring,
the pouring?
yeah.
So with the 19H though, they combine into one, right?
Well, that's I guess what my question was.
Yeah.
Is it one renewal every year or is it gonna be having to renew 2 different licenses each year?
That's definitely a state question, yeah.
Yeah.
That's I don't know. I'm hoping it's one because it's sort of
Right.
like if we're altering the premises to do this
To combine,
19H.
yeah.
Yeah.
What did Sam just do?
So he did something different where he no longer has his farmer brewery, he has a pub brewery license, I
Right.
believe. So because he has a pub brewery license, you give up your ability to self-distribute, but you can now buy in outside alcohol and sell in your in the location.
Okay. Okay, interesting.
So that's as far as I'm aware, that's sort of like similar to that's like what Amherst Brewing Company has.
Mhm.
So they're a restaurant, they can buy in outside stuff.
The bar.
It's a bar, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's basically like if you go into New City now, they've got, they have a lot of other products besides the stuff that they make.
Do they have ABB products?
They don't buy our stuff, no, they do not. They have a lot of other things, but not us. I'm not sure they would do that.
Interesting. Okay. All right. Well, I will find out the question for you
Sure.
and for the board, so we know moving forward how this works for renewals in every year. Because that would be disappointing if we have to do, for many reasons, 2 different renewals.
But I know like we'll be getting 2 renewals from the state, on the state side of things. Like I said, not for the pouring permits. I think the pouring permits are all a part of the LLA here.
Yeah.
As far as like the farmer brewery license and
That's on
farmer
their end,
distillery,
yeah.
that's on their side.
Okay. Okay.
I'm hoping I understand this right. I guess we'll find out in a couple weeks when the state reviews it.
Yeah. I mean, I was surprised they gave us as much direction as they did when I reached out, so that was helpful. They never tell me what to do. They
What?
say to ask the solicitor and the solicitor says to ask the state, so.
And I think when I had started this like a year and a half ago, we had our inspector come out and he told us these things and we did them. And then he was like, oh, you didn't do the other alterations. I was like, oh, I didn't know about that. And there really isn't anywhere on
That says.
the state how to do
Yeah.
these things. It's very specific.
Yeah.
Because we actually had to do an alteration of premise like a year ago where this is because they're all on the same property. So
Yeah.
the room that the distillery is in, and there are specific rules that has to be like floor to ceiling walls, has to be enclosed. We had to unlicense that space from the brewery and then relicense it for a distillery. So we've had a lot of alteration of premises.
Yeah, you have.
Yeah.
It's interesting how the state decides to make these
Yeah,
rules.
yeah, it
But
is.
they've all been approved,
Yeah.
it's kind of the process of how it goes. And like I said, we're not the only one that has this, I know.
Right.
There's probably a half a dozen breweries in the state that also operate as distilleries. Element in Miller's Falls has one.
Just went by there the other day.
Treehouse has one in Charlton. I think there's a couple out in the Cape. So,
Does South Deerfield Treehouse not do distilling?
technically they don't brew at South Deerfield. It's all at the main facility in Charlton.
so we would make a motion to approve the farmer distillery pouring permit.
And then
First.
the alteration, yes.
I make that motion.
I second it.
All in favor?
Keep going.
Sure, I make the motion to approve the alteration of premise for abandoned building premises. Yes, for abandoned building.
I second.
All in favor?
Okay. We'll see what happens.
Hopefully I filled these out properly.
Yeah. If not, they'll tell us exactly what to do.
Yeah.
I need everyone to sign these top
Oh.
pages here, please.
And it seems like, does the state operate, like they meet like once a month probably? Do you know how they do their
You know,
meetings?
sometimes I've had responses on applications in 24 hours, and then sometimes I've waited the full 90 days.
Mhm.
So I think it just depends on what they've got going on over there.
Yeah.
Down here.
Yes, please.
Yeah, that's why I was trying to get these in now, because if we
Yeah.
wait the whole 90 days.
I can scan them in tonight. We'll see what happens.
Okay. All right. I know the one thing I didn't do is I didn't include on the alteration my rent application, my rent,
Okay,
because it's like 20 pages long.
okay.
It's in one of the
But
applications.
it's in one of these,
It's
so
in
I can
one.
upload it with, cause I did your financials for the full application, separate from the application part, so I will upload it with that one too.
Or if they like come back and ask, I can always scan it. I just was
Yeah.
trying to save like 20
No,
pages.
I will.
Like,
Yeah.
I will
no
upload
one's
it to
reading these
both.
rents, agreements. No.
You'd be surprised.
Okay.
You'd be surprised. Okay,
Well, thank
I'll
you very
take care of
much.
these and
Good
we'll,
luck.
I'll send you the application, it gives you like a number that says call us in 90 days if you don't hear from us.
For a
but-
tracking number.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thanks very much.
All right.
Take care.
See you, Matt.
Any new old business?
Not, I guess new business, Full Circle Technologies permanized software that we use is troublesome right now. I have some businesses reaching out wondering why they haven't received their annual renewal notice, which I used to type up and pigeon mail to them, and they would have it by October 1st, and then everyone would wait until November 28th to get their paperwork. But with the new system, they said I could send it out later in October, early November, and it will give people 2 to 4 weeks. But I haven't even seen what is supposed to get sent out this year, so I keep reaching out to them and they're like, oh yeah, we'll get back to you, we'll get back to you. So I just sent them an email right before this. I was like, I need to know what's going on in the next 7 days.
Right.
So,
Does everybody get their license renewed the same time every year?
well, they should. So this week, the fire and building inspectors went out to inspect all the properties. So because without their approval,
Right,
the licensing board can't do the okay on the license per state regulation. So they'll send me something next week saying, this is who didn't pass, this is who did pass. I'll send out a notice to everyone that they need to file the renewal regardless of whether they've passed those inspections or not. And those are due under state law by November 29th to our office. So usually that falls on a day I can't review all the applications and stuff, so I have them submit them a couple days sooner. So yeah, I probably will tell them November 25th that everything is due. And then our meeting falls on December something. Sorry, I did not have these dates all out in front of me right
no, that's
now.
fine. So the state requires all of these to be
Yes, the
in with
state
us by
has-
the 29th,
Correct.
but you're gonna ask for them a little
I'm gonna ask, I usually ask for them a few days earlier because it's always Thanksgiving time.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
like
yeah.
if you drop the ball on it, if I get it on the 29th, usually people will send it the next week being like, oh, totally forgot to get it in on time, and like bound by state law to not accept it, so, and then I feel terrible, but.
When you, say like I opened a store or something and I got a license in August,
Yeah,
I'd have to do the renewal as well.
you do have to do the renewal
And
every
would I
year.
have to pay another, the same yearly fee I paid only 4 months ago?
Yes, what I have said to the board in the past is like you might wanna consider adjusting the fees at the time of that first application, but
So
not for renewal.
Okay, so the fees, I think I know this, but the fees are, we dictate what we charge, or it's not the state?
They're, right, the licensing board votes on the fees, and the mayor had requested that all departments and committees increase their fees over the last several years. So the board did vote, and that is in your Google Drive too, and on the city website for fee increases over the next 3 years. So things like the annual farmer's pouring permit, which Matt and Sam used to have, and Eric Berzins have, the board, when that first came about in 2014, said, we're gonna set the rate at $100, this is brand new to us, like and it will go up over the next couple years to be in line with the $1,300 everyone else pays, and it never went up over time, so. You know, the
Everyone moved to
administration was like, time to assess revenue and how we
Yeah.
can support, so those have gone up, those are up to $512.50 now, and then they go all the way up to $612.50. Wine and malts were $875, and this year they're gonna be $1,025, and then they go up $75 or $100. And then same with all alcohol, they were $13.13 for a decade, and now they're going up to $1,463 this year, and then up $100 each time, or
And are we, these are all rates that are sort of,
in line with local communities
communities,
and
right.
population sizes.
um,
Yeah, I did a fee assessment since 2019. Each year I did the fee assessment, brought it to the board, and it just didn't ever seem like an appropriate time to do it, because when I did the assessment in 2019, it felt like a good time to do it, and then COVID hit.
yeah, right.
And no one felt comfortable. We actually did fee reductions the year of COVID
Yeah,
because we
yeah.
didn't feel comfortable charging people who couldn't even operate.
Yeah.
And then in 21, like soft line. So
Right.
last year they voted to increase the fees and be in line with communities and revenue streams. So those
So-
are going up.
So we'll be voting on those?
They've already been voted on. They're already in
That's
place.
city council thing?
That was a local board decision.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
previous to me.
Previous to you, correct, previous to both of you, were you here during that? Yeah,
Yeah.
okay, so, those are set through 2027. So we would reevaluate in 2027 if they stay the same or continue to go up. That's all accessible on the website, so just things to keep in mind, renewal season's here, fees come about, if someone came right now, I think we had that for a couple businesses, and we just adjusted the fee and told them, like, you'll only pay a quarter of what you're supposed to pay for the year now, because in November, you're gonna have to renew.
Okay, so I'm sorry, with that last part, because I'm kind of
Sorry.
curious, like,
Yeah,
sort of to my
So
initial
it-
point, like, if I get a license in September,
Right,
I have to pay the full thing, and then it comes up in November, I have to pay the full
I
thing
would
again.
recommend to the board at that time to adjust the fee or waive it for the remaining 2 months of the business's open.
Okay, great, so we have the ability to do that on the fly, like, we don't have to make a law that says like, if you're within 6 months for the next renewal, we're gonna prorate it or something like that, you know? I mean, it's fine, if it's easier to just do it.
I don't know if we should, or if there should be something in place,
I don't know, just,
Yeah.
I mean, if it's easy enough for us to just,
I
Do
would
it.
wonder then if people would just wait to open businesses until the end of the year to kind of circumvent any fees, maybe. I mean, it might be hard to do.
that would be, I'm sure that would be possible, but I know.
Thing is, so if you say, like you say, the last month, but then if somebody, like in 6 months, you say, well, he got a discount here, so shouldn't I only have to pay half if I'm at 6, you know what I mean? So then it's like every month you'd be setting a different, a different rate, I think that would get
The good,
way too
the
complicated.
good bad news is there's no licenses available right now. So
Right.
no one's coming forward. It's not something we have to
Right,
have an immediate thought on.
sure, right, I'm just, curious
Yeah.
about how it works. So if-
Yeah, no, they're
if
good
we've been
questions
doing
to
it
have.
just sort of like on a case-by-case
Yeah.
basis and that's been working, fine.
Yeah.
But I'm kind of for that, like, if it's, why would you, why are you
Yeah.
gonna pay $1,100 2
Right.
months later pay
Right,
another?
I would
It just
never wanna
doesn't-
do that to a business owner either.
Okay.
And if there's ever a time the board wants to try and adopt regulations or implement something new, I'm always happy to take those inquiries from you and pass them along to the city solicitor. So if that's ever something you're like, hey, can we do this? Or hey, should we be doing this?
Right.
I'll send it to the solicitor and say,
Okay.
hey, should we be doing this?
Awesome.
Can we
Great.
do this? So never hesitate to reach out through email and ask me to send stuff along to the
Yeah.
solicitor.
So since we don't have any licenses available, and someone wanted to open a new business and sell liquor, they're just gonna have to go through the state. They're gonna have to go through the previous process.
There's nothing they can do. There's
Yeah.
the state doesn't
Right.
issue license. The state issues licenses to each municipality, and once you reach your quota, that's it. You petition for more, but I think I shared those emails with you. I've been petitioning Dan Carey. And maybe that's something we all, start discussing at meetings come January, because we're not gonna get anything out of our current representatives in an election cycle. So maybe come January, we start pressing whoever our new state rep is and
Well, that's
senators.
Omar, right? Isn't he our new state rep?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, November 5th.
Yeah, November, yeah, right.
Once
And
it's
Dan
voted
is in
upon.
again.
Right, so
And we
it's,
haven't heard anything back from Dan at all.
no, not over 2 years that I've been pressing emails up against him.
I mean, I don't get that at all.
Well, let's adjourn the meeting.
Yes. I move to adjourn the meeting.
All in favor?
Aye.